Welcome to episode 157 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is off this week, but we got Jeff Gamet back on the show. Welcome back, Jeff. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. And filling in for Warren, those are some pretty big shoes to fill, or at least I assume they are. I've actually never seen Warren's feet.
No, I haven't either, so you're not alone. So
well, we'll just go with big shoes to fill.
They're big shoes. But Warren's enjoying his 4th of July Independence Day holiday mighty early, so I hope you're having fun, Warren. We will miss you, and we got lots of stuff to talk about this week. Some more beta releases came out, some news stories, and I thought we would talk a little bit about shortcuts, since Jeff, you just talked about that with Brian Chaffin on the Apple Content Machine with the Mac Observer, so why not kind of extend that a little bit here at this audience, and we'll just have some more surprises coming up here. So let's jump into the news. We only have a couple stories this week. It's kind of a light news week. Mac rumors, the iPhone 12 passed 100 million in sales in the first super cycle since the iPhone 6. The iPhone 12 lineup passed 100 million units in April, meaning that the devices achieved the landmark figure within 7 months of its launch. By comparison, this is 2 months earlier than the iPhone 11 that launched in 2019, and almost the same as the iPhone 6, which powered a sales volume super cycle that was around the 4G transition in 2014, 2015. This means that the iPhone 12 series is the first volume supercycle iPhone in 6 generations. And so, it's pretty impressive to see that the iPhone 12 has been as successful as it has, especially everybody saying it's doomed. And of course, the iPhone 12 mini is doomed. And so they obviously are selling enough phones, don't you think?
I think Apple is doing pretty well with the iPhone in general, and the iPhone 12 line is just fine. And we hear Apple is doomed, I think, pretty much every iPhone release cycle, because you just can't make everyone happy. And the people that tend to say, well, Apple really blew it this time, the iPhone is now dead, this is going to ruin the company, they're the people that are going to complain regardless. And in some cases they're just the people that don't like Apple. They enjoy Apple bashing, and there you go. But this super cycle doesn't surprise me, really. This was a major refresh for the iPhone line. So, of course, this is the year or the cycle that we're going to see a big boost in sales.
No, yeah, I think it'll continue. It'll continue to be boosted in sales. I love my 12 Pro Max. Did you? I forgot. You did go with the 12 Pro, right?
I went with the 12 Pro.
Yeah.
The 12 Pro Max, the extra features are very compelling. But the size is not. It's just too big for me. I mean, the 12 Pro size, the 10. I mean, that was.
It was comparable.
Big.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like that was
a little too big.
No,
I thought it was. I thought it had a compromise, because I went from a 8 Plus to the 10 when the 10 came out. So
I can see why you would say that, but I've never been a Plus phone size person. Wow. And if I can't do everything with one hand, just the phone solidly in one hand.
Well, with my giant hands, I think I can handle it okay.
Maybe I need to get my fingers stretched. I don't know.
I got those giant hands, so. But no, it's good to hear. I'm not surprised. I mean, let's face it, it's 50% of Apple's business is the iPhone. So I don't think Apple's going to let up anytime soon, and we'll obviously be talking about new iPhones. If it goes from 12, it's going to go to lucky 13 unless they decide to skip it, because they did skip a number. They skipped when it went to 8. They went right to 10. So I wonder if they'll do the same thing, because
that's right.
13
we didn't get the iPhone 9.
No, I went from the 8 to the 10. So I'd be curious to see if they're already rumoring saying it's the 13, but maybe they will keep it. But,
who knows?
We'll see what happens. And then my favorite cellular network, this was on the Mac Observer. Our friend Andrew Orr wrote this. T-Mobile is going to allow you to try out their network for free using an eSIM. T-Mobile is offering iPhone users a new way to test drive its network by downloading an app and installing that installs an eSIM. Through the network test drive app on iOS, you can test the T-Mobile network for free for 30 days with 30 gigabytes of LTE data, whichever comes first. And you won't leave your current carrier and you won't lose your existing phone number. So during the trial period, you'll be provided with a temporary phone number that you can use voluntarily for calls and texts by default. Your primary number will be your existing network provider and will be used for calls and texts because you got an eSIM and you got a physical SIM. You got two lines on your phone.
Right.
Once the trial expires, you will be able to keep the temporary number that you were assigned. You will not be able to keep the temporary number where you were assigned. And at the end of the trial, you'll your current provider will remain active and on your device, and the deactivated eSIM profile can be safely removed. I have my iPhone through T-Mobile, and I also transferred it to the eSIM because I like the fact that I can take a regular SIM from another carrier and be able to have two separate lines. Now, T-Mobile did give me 2 free lines I have on my account, so I have them on so I have one in this iPhone 10R that I'm sporting with the camera here, and then I had it in an old Android phone too. So hey, when they're going to give you 2 free lines and it doesn't cost you a dime, you take advantage of that. But this is great,
right.
and I've been a very, very happy T-Mobile customer, but almost 3 years now, ever since I abandoned that AT&T dreaded network. So I think it's great. I wish other carriers would do this.
I agree, but this is very much T-Mobile. That's totally their style.
Yeah.
I don't see AT&T or Verizon following suit.
Never.
I was a T-Mobile subscriber all the way up until the first iPhone came out, and then you had to go to AT&T. And matter of fact, when I switched over to the iPhone, my SIM card for my T-Mobile phone was old enough that when I boot up my phone, it still said VStream for voice stream. Because,
oh my gosh.
That's how long I've been a customer.
It goes backways.
It does. Yeah, I'm still on AT&T, and around here, it's all about which carrier gives you the service where you need it.
Right.
And for right around my part of Boulder, I'm better off with AT&T. I have friends that live several blocks away. They're better off with Verizon. And go the other direction, it's T-Mobile. But I'm going to try this out because I think it'll be really cool.
You can test it out, see if the network's improved since you've been on last.
Right. Now, am I correct in remembering that the iPhone XS is the first model that included eSIM support?
Yep. I believe that's what it said in the article. Yeah, it says the iPhone XS or newer with eSIM capabilities. Yeah, I do remember when the XS added that because I have owned every iPhone since, as far as I can remember, since I am in the trade-in program, and I do get the new model each year. So, so the XS actually is now in the capable hands of my sister-in-law. She bought that phone for me many years ago. So that's 2 phones ago. So I'm on the 12. Had the 11 last year.
Right.
So yes, so it did. That's still a very capable phone, the XS. So.
Oh yeah, it's a great phone.
Yeah. So yeah, check it out. I think that's a great way to test out T-Mobile. See what if it works for you, and if it does, I'm one happy customer. Yeah, in the Chicago area, I don't have any problems. T-Mobile's got really good coverage. So when I visit Las Vegas, I've been out of Vegas end of this month on a trip here coming up. I've always had good coverage there, and any other places other than like rural areas, like if I travel to Michigan or some places that are more rural, I mean, you're going to expect not to have very good coverage in those
I think
smaller areas.
Verizon's better in rural areas.
Yeah. So the T-Mobile's getting there. I mean, they're building up the 5G, and then, but it all depends on what you want to use, and you can always look at the secondary carriers like Mint Mobile and even Google Fi, who uses a split between T-Mobile and U.S. Cellular. There are some other carriers you could take a look at as well. But yeah, Mint is always a big podcast supporter, and I tried their service, and it was pretty decent, and then it's very cheap. So, but hey, I'm a happy T-Mobile customer. I'm not leaving anytime soon.
Awesome.
So, next story here, Apple releases Apple Watch International Collection bands and faces. So with the Olympics approaching soon here, as we record this, Apple released a new collection of Apple Watch Sports Loop bands to let people share their support of their country. There's also matching downloadable watch faces. There's 22 countries that are participating in this, and going from Australia, Belgium, Canada, all the way down to the U.S. The U.S. will also have that too. So maybe we should buy some U.S. watch bands. I don't know if I want to have a red, white, and blue watch band, but
yeah, it depends on where you are, whether or not we should be wearing red, white, and blue publicly. Some places don't like us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll wear Canada. It's red.
You could say it's French.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
I'm looking at it's blue and white as the main part, and then it's got red on the edges of the band. So it's a sports loop.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah. That's actually that looks a lot better than what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's not like an actual flag, red, white, and blue color. It might be something fun, and but I'm so in love with this loop. The continuous loop band I don't ever change this band. I love it so much. It's just so comfortable that I don't know if I would. I mean, I've got the other sport loop bands, and they're nice. That's the ones I was wearing, but not since I got the loop. It's been pretty awesome. So, but check it out, and you can have your matching face to with it as well.
I like the Japan band.
Yeah,
it's nice. White with red pinstripes on the edges.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then finally, I don't usually connect. Excuse me. I don't usually connect a story to the New York Post, but this is all I could find here. This is Apple quietly buys Roku remote button for its, they say, its struggling Apple TV app. Apple TV is scrambling for new subscribers and quietly looking for unlikely rival for help. Apple's struggling streaming service, which started in November 2019, has bought a button on the Roku remote, a surprise tie-up with the popular streaming stick maker that Apple hopes will expand its customer base. Well, I'm not going to read more of the propaganda here in New York Post, but
wow. I wonder how they feel about Apple and Apple TV Plus. I'm just having a hard time picking up their sentiment here.
Exactly.
That's okay. First, we don't know how many subscribers Apple has in Apple TV Plus because they're not telling us. And as far as I know, there's no indication Apple is scrambling to get new subscribers. And okay, the whole way they're presenting this. What a crappy way to write this article.
I know, it was a propaganda. I was really tempted. I was really like kind of reserved. I wasn't even going to share this article, but I thought it was, and we actually talked about this on Mac to the Future Go with Guy and Warren yesterday. But I thought, if anything, we could have a debate here of the fact that Roku is a big platform. I mean, and you could buy this device with this remote for $29. Let's face it, that is a pretty gosh darn good deal compared to spending $149 for an Apple TV. But what's wrong with Apple jumping on the bandwagon? I mean, I've got this old Roku button remote here. I'm showing on the camera here that has Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Sling. I don't use Sling, so that button for me is pointless. So it's there, and it makes it easier to access it, which is just not a bad thing.
To me, the interesting news out of this isn't that Apple has done this, because this totally makes sense, and this is just what you do. I mean, you want your Netflix button, you want your Amazon Prime button, you want your Hulu button, you want your Apple TV Plus button. That's it. That's what should be on these. And the big question for me isn't why did Apple do this?
Oh my gosh.
Why did they take so long to do this?
Right.
And I'm wondering if it's more a thing about contractual obligations that Roku had with button placement.
Could be.
And they had to wait for something to expire for Apple to take over the spot.
Well, I have many of the different types of TV devices. I have a Roku. I have a TiVo Stream. Call me crazy. Why do I have that? I got it as a Christmas present. I thought, hey, nice stocking stuffer. It only costs $40. Mm-hmm. But it's Google TV, so I like to experience the platforms and see what everybody else is doing. Amazon TV. The Fire Stick or the Fire TV. I had one of the old Fire TVs, the thin base one. I actually have a Fire TV Cube that was down in my home theater area, and that's even decent too. So but then Amazon turns around and reciprocates. They have their services on all those devices I just mentioned.
Of course.
And so does Apple TV. Apple TV is on the Google TV. Apple TV is also on with all the other devices. Samsung, smart TVs. Yeah. They got to get their name out there. But Apple continues to buy more and more different content. There's more great series coming. Can't wait for Ted Lasso in about we're counting it down 22 days, I think it is. Yeah, 20 as we record this, 22 days. Yes, I can't wait. I was going back and binge watching the series again. I was like, God, this show is so good. That's when I all the way up to episode 5 or 6, and I was like, I want to watch the rest of them again. It just when it was on the first season, I couldn't wait to see the next episode, because of course they make you wait, which is fine.
Yeah. No, it's not. It is not fine.
Damn you!
We have moved beyond traditional terrestrial big three network
True.
TV scheduling, and Netflix made that very clear.
Right, when they do it.
Right, and now having the different streaming services start to go back to the once a week thing.
Yeah,
to me it's horribly frustrating, and I stop watching shows because of it.
So just wait till they all are all in the catalog, and then you just go binge watch at once.
Yeah, I'm watching Loki every week, which by the way is an amazingly great series.
I gotta start watching it. I got a Disney Plus, yeah.
But I have no idea what day it's on. The only reason I watch each episode each week is because it's on some day during the week.
Yeah.
I start seeing tweets about the episode. And so I'm like, oh, I should go watch that before I see spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the farther down in this article, and holy crap, they quote Lightshed Partners analyst Rich Greenfield, who called Apple's move to put or get a button on the Roku remote shocking. And
why is it shocking?
Nobody would ever have expected this. What? Okay, Rich Greenfield may be very well informed and very competent, but in this instance, and I literally have no idea who he is. But in this instance,
I was going to say, who is he?
I don't know, but he's straight up wrong. Nobody ever would have expected this. No, everyone in the industry, all the analysts, all the pundits, everyone had to have been expecting this. I'm not even an Apple journalist anymore, and I've been expecting this. There's no surprise here. No,
none. The Verge reported on this back in April of 2021, and then that didn't get much fanfare. But it was funny because I was searching for this article to find if anybody else was even talking about it, and they're all quoting back to this article in the New York Post of all places. But they're going through analysts' estimated streaming service, and they've surpassed 40 million by the end of 2020. And of course, comparing Netflix to 208 million. Of course, Netflix is bigger because Apple's still working on it. And yeah, we're both Apple fanboys, let's face it. But I still think,
but I'm happy to call Apple out when appropriate. I'm not a blind follower.
Absolutely, yeah. If there's something they're not doing, you and I are both going to call out the fact that, and yeah, even I'm seeing here that you did say here there's confusion in the marketplace. What confusion is there? Now, granted, Apple is going to stop offering the free 12 months that they did when it first came out at the end of this month, as we record this end of July, and that's great. I mean, it's time, and they need to get people to really be on board. I mean, it's $5 a month. That's so reasonably priced. I mean, think about what you're paying for Netflix. I mean, granted, I get Netflix for almost free because T-Mobile gives us a little perk, but
that's how I get HBO Max.
Yeah, exactly. I get HBO Max because it's included in my cable subscription. So I mean, so the streaming services are just it just keeps evolving. It's Discovery Plus. I've been paying for that. Haven't watched it much, but it's actually I kind of like it. It's got a lot of great stuff on it. You got to go back and watch all the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives episodes because there's like 23 years worth of them. But I just don't understand why this is such a big deal. I mean, like I said, let's face it, Roku is going to be the more popular of the devices because it's so cheap. I mean, this device that's on now, the Express 4K, it says in this article it's $39.99. Go to Amazon right now, it's $29.99. And it's a 4K device. So, I mean, how do you beat that? And as far as price goes, I mean, yeah, granted, the Apple TV does have a nice interface, and we like, and I like it. But that's the reason why I have so many of these different devices, so I can play and just kind of get that immersive experience of what people experience. You could do that. So I've got 3 devices that are probably the total of one Apple TV. So really think about that. And hey, what the heck? It's. I mean, yeah, granted, I have a 3 and 4 port switch HDMI switch from IOGear. I just go do switch between the 4 of them on one source, but why not? It's a cool thing, and whatever. New York Post, I think that was just a kind of a silly article, honestly. But
yeah, I've been scanning through more of it, and it's surprising what I'm finding in there that's just patently wrong.
Yeah, that's I say you got a news outlet that's covering technology that has no business doing it. Yeah, honestly,
the part they got right is that Apple has gotten a deal with Roku to put an Apple TV Plus button on their remote.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Oh well. Well, we beat that one to death. So let's move on to the topics this week, and we can't make fun of Warren this week because he continues to tell people to go out, run. Install beta.
We can make fun of him. He's just not here to defend himself. He's not here
to defend himself because he kept saying it yesterday on Back to the Future. And I kept saying, no, you don't tell people to go out and install beta. You just don't.
Okay, here's what I tell people. If you want to install the beta, that's great for whichever device. But don't put it on a mission-critical device. If you only have one iPhone, you don't run beta on it. No. If you only have one Mac and you want to run beta there, get an external SSD, install the beta on that. And unless you can afford to brick an Apple Watch, never run beta on Apple Watch.
Exactly. So this week, as we record this, they released this. It was interesting the way they released this in iOS 15 and iPadOS 15. It was the second beta, but it was like a revised version. Because
didn't they do that last year?
And maybe they did.
The first public beta?
Maybe they did. Because this is the second beta came out, and now there's a revised version of the second beta. And it was released to developers for testing purposes, and with the new software coming just a week after. It was only a week after. So they must have found some bugs. And, of course, a lot of times they don't tell you.
Of course they did. It's beta.
That's the whole point. It's beta. Hey, it happened to me. I was on the show yesterday and my camera kept going out in camo because, that phone is running beta. So it served me right.
There you go.
But yeah, I rebooted the phone and I was fine.
Yeah, I'm running iOS beta on 10-inch iPad Pro and iPad Mini 4. Neither are mission critical devices.
Same here.
There
I got
you go.
a first gen iPad Pro 12.9 inch that I'm running it on. And then I have the 10R that I'm running it on. Those are my two beta devices. I never put it on my primary. Never.
Same. Never.
But Warren will say, go, run, do it now.
Well, in Warren's defense, it's not his device. They're installing it on.
Exactly. It's working solid. Live on the edge. So
this is a little over the edge, and working solid in beta isn't the same thing as an official release being solid. There's stuff that does not work. There are features that are missing. Stuff's broken.
Absolutely. So then, and then that exact same day, I was actually yesterday as we record this, the public betas have now been released. So now we're in big trouble. You're going to get these people that want to get out there and I want to test it because I don't have a developer account. Now I can because it's public beta. And you could download and test the new updates. If you've signed up for the beta testing program, which can be easily done by going to the public beta site, you can sign up and all the proper certificates and all that stuff. And of course, you'll be able to try all the new features we've talked about with FaceTime and Focus and the Safari redesign and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, you could do it, but buyer beware. Don't be diving in.
Part of the problem that we have here, I put in Google's lap, because Google has been giving people software for over 10 years that they have tagged as beta, and it's it's public release like production software, but it's still tagged beta, and so people have come to expect that beta just means I'm getting it faster, and they expect it to be final release quality. And and that's a problem.
Yeah, no, crazy stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. So
yeah. Now the other side of that, I think Siri should still have the beta badge on it.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, one of the biggest things that drives me nuts is when I'm typing a text and I go type it and every time I type it and then I hit the darn mic at the bottom right on the keyboard. I do it all the time.
I hit like one of the emoji buttons
I hit the mic. Then I'm talking and then it picks up. I have to erase it. It drives me crazy. There's got to be a way to stop that.
And now you're texting people, son of a frickin' Apple Safari, just
exactly. The one good thing about going iOS 15, if you decide you want to go back, there is a way to do it, but you have to know how to. So if you're not,
and you can't with an Apple Watch.
And I was just going to get to that. They did first see.
To take that.
No. I was going to say, don't even do it with the Apple Watch, because if you do it, there's no going back. And if you go back to iOS 14, you're going to be in trouble, because I don't even know if it's going to work with WatchOS 8 that's out there. And then we have that article here as well. They seeded the first release.
You have to be on public or dev beta.
Yep.
If you're going to do the Apple Watch beta.
Yeah.
Period. So there's no going back.
The biggest thing they did add is the Find My app is now available on the Apple Watch, to helping locate lost items right from the device, from your wrist, as opposed to pulling out your iPhone, which is cool.
That's
but
cool.
I can wait. I'm not putting it on my watch right now.
Yeah, I can wait.
So, meanwhile, Apple still has 14.7 out there as another beta. It's now the fourth version that just has come out. We're in beta 4 of iOS and iPadOS 14.7. That was just released a day prior to this, and can be downloaded. Apparently it's bug improvements, but apparently that there's enough bug improvements that they haven't released it out to everybody yet, because it's come on, guys, we're on 14.6. Let's get 14.7 out and move on. I mean, you got to focus on iOS 15 at this point, in my opinion.
Am I the only person that when the news that the fourth beta of iOS 14.7 was out was surprised? Because seriously, at this point, I thought we were already running iOS 14.7. I had to go and look at my iPhone just to make sure.
It's 14.6. So, Come on, Apple, release it. Obviously there must be some bugs that's in there that we aren't aware of. That of course they never tell you about.
Well, okay, so here's a hypothesis. Maybe they've been holding it this long because they keep adding a new bug and security fixes, because they're planning on this being the very last update for iOS 14.
Yeah.
And so they just want to roll in as much as they can.
Apparently. Well, the biggest standout feature that 14.7 is going to add is for the HomePod and the HomePod Mini. It's going to allow the Home app to set multiple timers on a HomePod or a HomePod Mini. Okay. Is that an exciting feature? I don't think so.
Well, okay. Here's another thing. Because when you said HomePod, that reminded me, we're going to get Apple Hi-Fi, Apple.
Oh wow, that's a blast from the past. You mean the iPod Hi-Fi?
Wow. We're going to get high-res audio support for HomePod, and that's probably coming in the 14.7 update. And if they're still working on that part, then they're going to hold everything until they've got that done.
Absolutely. Well, and then meanwhile, you still have WatchOS 7.6 is the fourth beta, and you have tvOS 14.7 is out to developers as well. So hopefully those will all be released soon, and we can move on and focus on iOS 15 and tvOS 15 please. And WatchOS 15, please. So, all right, that's our fun with beta this week, and
we talked a lot about beta, even without Warren here.
I know we did, and I'm not anywhere near as. And a lot of times I don't spend enough time in beta to start learning the features, and I end up having to catch up when it does come out. So I think I need to change my view here. So we're celebrating a birthday this past week. The first iPhone went on sale 14 years ago, June 29th, 2007. Was the first iPhone that went on sale. It was unveiled in that, of course, famous presentation by Steve Jobs in January of that year. And that summer, customers in the U.S. were finally able to get their hands on it. It was, of course, like we just talked about earlier, it was exclusively to AT&T customers. And then famously, it had no 3G capability. I was smart. I did not buy the very first iPhone because I thought it was very expensive. I mean, it was at the time, I think, was $600 if I remember correctly, and I thought that was
expensive than the price tag.
Yeah,
because you paid full price for the phone, but
right.
AT&T still charged you as if you were buying a subsidized phone.
Right.
So you bought the phone, and then you continued to buy the phone you already owned, which was a really, really crappy move on AT&T's part.
It was. So I did not have the very first iPhone, but I started the iPhone 3G, then 3GS, and with the 4, the 4S, the 5, the 5S. I just kept going. I never stopped after that. So I've had basically every iPhone other than the very first model. But
I had that first model. I've had almost every single iPhone. Actually, with the 10, I skipped from 10 to 12 Pro, right. and I blame AT&T for that because I was on their annual upgrade plan, and that was the year they're like, yeah, you can do the upgrade, but we're going to charge you an extra $500. So I'm like, my iPhone 10 is great.
That's why I stick with Apple's the Apple trade-in program. It works awesome. I mean, and I don't even feel it. I mean,
I switched with the 12 Pro, and what I will do from this point forward, no subsidized phones. I'm just buying the phone unlocked outright.
Sure,
that's it. Screw the whole.
But that's the thing. But with the Apple upgrade program, you already get the phone unlocked, so I could switch carriers whenever I feel like it. But I'm just obligated to pay the phone each month, and it's locked in. And it's not auto pay through the Citizens One Bank, whatever they've been using for years. So that's what I don't even feel it. I mean, it just comes right out of my Apple Card. I get my 3%, and I'm on my merry way. So, but it all depends on what people want to do. It's understandable, but I think it's exciting. I mean, I'm so thrilled that I've been part of this, and that's the whole reason why I started this podcast, was just because of the passion I have for iPhone. And iPhone is probably one of the most vital devices that are out there these days. And the iPad is a very close second, but and I think you and I both will agree that they are very important in our lives.
Absolutely.
So, happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
So let's go into the big topic of this week. I wanted to touch on a little bit. You did a great show with Brian Chaffin and over at the Mac Observer in the Apple Content Machine and talked about shortcuts. And we don't talk enough about shortcuts. And we've had guests on here before that who are quite the gurus of shortcuts. But I've been trying all my might to try to dabble in shortcuts, and I need to do a better job of it. But we've got you here this week to give us a little bit of what you've been dabbling with in shortcuts. So let us know what you've been playing with.
Well, okay. Let me start by saying, and I believe I said the same thing on Apple Context Machine. I decided it was really important for me to start doing more with shortcuts because it comes to Mac OS this fall.
Yeah,
and so I knew, because of the keynote where they talked about automation on all of Apple's platforms, that this is the future of all automation across all of Apple's devices.
Yeah.
So I needed to like really get back into doing more with this. So what I'm doing with shortcuts is stuff that makes my day-to-day life easier. So I'm doing things like setting up shortcuts that blend together different things that I'm doing with HomeKit or with other apps or services that have shortcut support as well. For example, I'm doing things like creating shortcuts that mix together different scenes that I've created, so that I can have a single command that I use with the S Lady to perform multiple things at once, instead of having to say, hey, S Lady, do this, hey, S Lady, do this, hey, S Lady, do this. I just say one thing and it all happens in succession. And my favorite example of that is when I say, hey, S Lady, I'm podcasting, it turns off the lights in my office and then turns the lights behind me blue, turns off the lights in my hall except for one, which is now red. So if anyone comes into my place, they know that I'm either podcasting or recording. And since I tend to play music all day long while I'm doing stuff, it then pauses whatever's playing on my HomePods. And to set that up as an automation in HomeKit, I find it actually easier to create a shortcut, especially because I can give it that specific name that I want, and whatever you name it, that becomes the Siri command.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's so many great shortcuts out there that other people have made.
Yeah. Tons.
Tons. Like one of my favorite is called Apple Frames, and
Here
this
one
takes a screen, whatever screenshot you've taken of your phone, your iPhone, and when you run the shortcut, it takes that screenshot and then it takes a template of an iPhone bezel and puts it all together and generates a ping for you and puts it into Photos so that you've got it ready to use wherever you need to go.
We got to get a link to that so everybody could try it.
Yes. Okay. I will get the link for that one and give it to you.
It's called Apple Frame?
Apple Frames.
Frames. Okay.
Yeah. And another one that I set up so that I could use it as a widget is a shortcut that just turns on my TunnelBear VPN.
Okay.
And that also means that I can just say to my iPhone or iPad, hey, S Lady, turn on my VPN, and it'll just do it.
That's awesome.
It's a button for me now, too, so I just tap the button, and away you go. And one thing I like to show people as a starter shortcut is how to go in and make a shortcut that launches an app, and then you can put whatever graphic you want as the icon for that, and then show it as an icon on your home screen, and now you can customize how your app icons look. So you can put like families on there, your cat, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
think I
also,
found
any automations you've made in HomeKit, they show up in the automation section in shortcuts. So you have a single unified place where you can handle all of your HomeKit automations and all of your just general shortcut automations, just all in one interface.
That's awesome.
It is. Here's one that I shared with Brian, and I'm sure that he found it to be really cool. And I say that because I told him, so therefore he must have found it cool. You can set up a HomeKit automation in shortcuts that lets you pick a specific playlist that you have, or a specific album that you have, or one of Apple's curated playlists from Apple Music, and make that play on any combination of your HomePods that you have. And so I use that because if I say, hey, S-Lady, play jazz, it always chooses one specific jazz curated playlist, which isn't necessarily what I want to hear. So I can go and pick any other playlist and set that up into a shortcut. And so now I can say, hey, S-Lady, play piano jazz, because I made a shortcut called play piano jazz. Mm-hmm. And now it grabs the curated playlist that I actually want to hear and plays that. And now your brain is probably reeling, thinking, there are so many things I could do with this. I mean, you could set up you could call it, hey, S-Lady, play party mix. And you could have several of those curated playlists or your own playlists that you just stack on top of each other in the shortcut, and it'll play through each one for you.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. There's so many shortcuts out there. Obviously good sources, MacStories.net. They have just Federico is just amazing with all the shortcut collections, and I'm a member of the Club MacStories. It's worth it to have all the resources that he has, and he's so passionate about it. Yeah, so they're just. I mean, I'm realizing how many shortcuts I've put in here that I have that. I didn't know that. I forgot I did that. You forget because there's so many of them.
Same. Well, okay. Well, then here's another tip that you need. Did you know you can make folders in shortcuts and then organize your different shortcuts into folders?
I did not know that.
Well, there you go. And now it becomes a lot easier to keep track of all the different shortcuts you've made. Like one that I had completely forgotten about. I set one up so that there's like a group of family members that I will routinely send images to, and I have a shortcut for that, but I had forgotten about it. And when I went in and started reorganizing a bunch of my shortcuts into folders a while ago, as I'm moving stuff around, I'm like, holy crap, why am I not using this? I made this and I used it a few times and then forgot about it. So yeah, it's a thing. Set up folders. It's much easier to remember all the shortcuts you made that are really super handy and then you forgot about.
And is that one called Setup Folders?
That one, it's just in the folders section. So if you look in shortcuts, on your iPhone, hold on, let me open up shortcuts on my iPhone and shortcuts. And, okay, so on the iPhone at the bottom, if you tap in the Shortcuts app, you tap My Shortcuts. At the top, on the left, there's shortcuts with a little chevron pointing to the left. Tap on that. And then that takes you out where you can look at all your shortcuts, add shortcuts to share sheets. There you go. See the shortcuts you've added to share sheets. Set up your own folders. And there you go.
Perfect. Yeah, that's definitely because that's the problem. You start getting all these shortcuts, it just gets overwhelming.
Right. Yeah. Now on the iPad, there's a column on the left that has the gallery, the automation stuff, all the folders.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's just a ton of shortcuts out there, and lots of resources. We'll put some links in the show notes here of places you can go. But those are some of the ones that stand out for you that you really like.
Yeah, just little things that I've made over time that become super handy. One that I'm going to throw another one at you because it's just really easy to do. So I set up one a while ago as an example just to show people. So in shortcuts, I used the camera shortcut, and then told it to automatically snap 3 photos in a row using the front-facing camera on my phone. Then it uses the media shortcut feature, and it will take those 3 photos that I just snapped and turn those into an animated GIF or GIF, depending on how you prefer to say it.
Yeah.
And then it will let me see what it looks like, and then it will automatically drop it into messages for me so I can text it off to someone.
That's
and it
awesome.
took me like 3 minutes to set up, and that's it. And it was just super easy. And so you can do like 3 selfies where you make 3 faces real fast, bloop, bop, and then for the people that are watching live, they're like, holy crap, you just really did that. And then send that animated GIF off to whoever you want.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, we could do a whole show on shortcuts. I tell you, there's just so many.
We could. Here's the worst. I went through a phase where I kept ordering the same drink at Starbucks, and at one point my iPhone said, "Do you want me to make that into a shortcut?" So I said yes.
Yeah.
And now I can say, "Hey, S lady, order Starbucks," and it'll order a London Fog with soy milk.
There you go.
And it even knows which Starbucks to order it from.
Because it's based on where you're located, though, right?
I think so. Hold on, let me look at that one real quick.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. No, I said we could keep going, but there's just so many other shortcuts out there. And we'll put a couple links in the show notes of those things. But we hope you enjoyed that. One other topic I wanted to hit before we close things out here was the notification center. I'm assuming you use that quite a bit, and you've got it customized the way you like. And I wanted to find out from you what are some of the settings that you add into the notification center. I mean, I could say mine, but I'd be curious to know how you've set up your notification center, because there's so many things you can do in the control center, I should say. Not notification. I meant control center.
Okay.
Well, I know why I wrote notification. I meant control. But there's so many different things now that they've added for the control center. You know, specifically, I always have the magnifier because I think that's just one of the most amazing things. And funny that Apple always had the magnifier as an accessibility feature, and it was buried, and you had to go find it. Well, now they made it is so dumb, and now it's a mainstream thing here. But what are some of the things that you include in your control center that you can bring down and get to very quickly?
Mine's kind of plain Jane.
Is it? Okay.
I have the Apple TV remote.
Yeah, me too.
And I have low power mode right there.
Okay.
And then of course the camera and screen recording, magnifier, flashlight, and I put the hearing in there.
Okay.
Because sometimes that one's just really fun to play with. So then, of course, I have HomeKit showing some specific devices in here as well, and I have a couple scenes that are buttons in here.
Okay.
So, like, I have one scene that's I'm working, and so that one sets all the lights correctly in my office here for when I'm working and not actually recording a show.
Okay.
And so that's just a button in here as well, because sometimes I want to make that scene happen, but I don't actually want to speak.
Interesting.
So I can just slide down Control Center and tap that button.
Interesting. Yeah, that is pretty awesome that you can do that. One I add in here that I think is a quick way to get to, and I always keep forgetting because I go search for it, is the code scanner. That's the app that you can't. That is not as an app. You have to search for it. So if you
used to have that in here.
Yeah.
But I took it out because the camera just automatically recognizes QR codes now.
Yeah, I thought the code scanner seems a little faster to me.
It probably is.
When I go in there, so you tap it and you do the QR code, because I was in a Microsoft training class this past week, and they were putting up QR codes all the time. So I'm going up to my screen and, let me scan that. And it does bring it into a page, and it gets you where you need to go. But yeah, I agree with you. The camera does do it too. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get the camera to scan it just right, but but I think that's a pretty good one too. And
I have one spot empty on my control center. I could just put that back in.
Oh, I think I have one left too. As I got like 5 of the home stuff. I got to revamp my home. My home is such a mess right now. Some of the outlets are just I've dropped off when I had to update my router. So I've just been lazy. I haven't gone and re-enabled them. So got lights plugged into those plugs, and they're not working. So I got to get those get up and running again.
Those are the lights you just don't need all the time, right?
That's why I've been able to get away with it. But as anybody doesn't know, the way to get into the control center to make the changes or what you want to add, you just go into settings, and then you scroll down and go into control center. And then the first list is going to be your included controls, and you can tap the minus icon and remove those, and you can also reorder them too. So if you want them to be, like I have the flashlight at the top, because that's always the thing you use quite a bit. And then they've created a much larger size, a larger list of controls. And we've talked about this many times, but it's always worth revisiting here. Like the text size. I think that's kind of a cool thing. If you want to make text bigger, if you're having trouble seeing it, you can do that. Of course, they got now the built-in music recognition, since Shazam is now built into iOS now, so you can, it really works, because you just tap it whenever you just go control center, tap music recognition while it's playing, and it comes up pretty quickly.
See, a lot of these things, I think, I should put that in. Oh, wait, I just say, hey, S lady, whatever the thing is, like, hey, S lady, what song is this?
Right.
Yeah.
So there are some things in here. Others are probably not as important. Notes, I don't know if I needed that quick of an access to notes. I can just have the Notes app at my fingertips to go into Notes, because I'm a pretty heavy Notes user. And the stopwatch, if it's not something you do use a lot. Wallet, I think it's easy to just get to the Wallet app. Just have it on the first page of your home screen, and
right.
That's how I've done it. And you when you gave me that suggestion about the widgets, having the battery widget, I have it on the home screen now. That I think that's a good place to do that. So, but the control center it's very powerful, and I think there's a lot of things you don't see people do. I go in here for when I tap in for screen mirroring. If I want to mirror my device, which would have came in handy today if I would have had a device that I could have mirrored to when I was doing a training class, but no, I forget my cord. That's there. As well as you have the lock button. So if you want to do the portrait orientation locks, where it doesn't spin, you want to keep it locked. That's there. Do not disturb is in there. But of course, a lot of this stuff's going to change a little bit once iOS 15 comes out. So we'll definitely be covering that and talking about it. Even the voice memo app is in here too. You can tap, and it gives you a quick button to get to the voice memos. If you want to, if those of you who like to record quick voice memos in the voice memos app, that's there too. So let's say you don't go in here often enough to think about it, because like I could see you're like, wow, I don't remember all this stuff.
There's some really cool stuff in here, and
even the sound recognition. There's a sound recognition one that you can do in there, and what that is it. When you tap it, you can tap the sound recognition of, like, if you hear a siren, a smoke alarm, or a cat or a dog. It goes in and you can turn on sound recognition, and it'll listen for those certain items and notify you when those sounds have been recognized. So if it's something, like a car, like a siren as such, that'll kind of notify you.
It'll even tell you if it hears running water.
Yeah. Yeah, water running. Yep, and baby crying, shouting, coughing. Yeah, that's all in there too. So
it's a problem when you're watching TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Can be a problem here. So, but I think it's something to always be aware of, and we'll always try to keep covering that for you. And think it's good stuff. Did you have anything else that relates to that, or you want to talk about before we wrap things up here?
I will say that as we've been talking, I took the hearing thing out because of Control Center, because I realized I haven't actually tapped on that in like a year.
Yeah, I actually did take it out. I don't use it very often.
So I put the calculator in there, even though I have the calculator in the widget screen. When you're on the main home screen, you swipe left or right.
Right.
So I pop that in there, and I still have one empty spot. And I'm looking at all this other stuff, and I'm like, the other stuff, I do it with the Yes Lady, or I use different apps, or it's something that's already on my home screen. So I guess I'm just going to have to live with one empty space on Control Center.
It's okay. Unless you're OCD and you want to have something in that spot.
I'm not really OCD, but I just keep looking at that spot thinking, wasted space.
Why? So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. That was a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Jeff, thanks for being here as always. Tell us where everybody can find you.
Well, first, thanks for having me back on. It's always a lot of fun.
Always is.
Yes, it is. Even when Warren's not here, it's not the same, but it's still fun. Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Jay Gamet, both places. On my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JGamet. The Mac Show and the Big Show on British Tech Networks. That's Thursdays and Fridays. Mac Voice is live on Tuesdays, and like this week, I was on Apple Context Machine. Here on a semi-regular basis. So thank you for that. I get around. Google me. Yes. You can find me.
Yes, we can. We can find you, and we love your YouTube videos here. And you said you got some you got some in the can coming pretty soon here. So
yes,
right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to those as well. Well, thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk again soon.